Its dense woods and misty hills were home to many, but to the teenagers of the town, it was a location filled with whispers of the terrifying Mothman, a creature said to be a harbinger of doom, with glowing red eyes and massive wings that blotted out the moon. Its dense woods and misty hills were home to many, but to the teenagers of the town, it was a location filled with whispers of the terrifying Mothman, a creature said to be a harbinger of doom, with glowing red eyes and massive wings that blotted out the moon. It was the fall of 2023 when the dare finally emerged. Jacob, a brash 16-year-old known for his wild ideas, challenged his friends, Maya, Felix, and Tessa, to spend a night in the woods, determined to confront the creature that haunted their town. "Come on, it'll be an adventure. We'll prove Mothman's just a bunch of stories," he insisted, his excitement infectious. The quartet gathered supplies, flashlights, snacks, and their belief that the tales were nothing but fables. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, they made their way to the heart of the hollow, where the trees grew thick and twisted, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching for the sky. Around a crackling fire, they joked and laughed as the shadows danced eerily in the flickering light. Tessa, shivering slightly, spoke in a whisper, "What if he actually shows up?" "You really believe in that stuff?" Felix scoffed. "It's just a story made up to scare kids." Quote, but as the night deepened, the atmosphere shifted. The laughter stilled as the night sounds. The chirps of crickets and the rustling of leaves faded into an unsettling silence. The air weighed heavy, and an otherworldly stillness wrapped around them, like a blanket soaked with dread. Just as the chill of fear began to creep in, an unnatural sound echoed through the trees, a low, haunting cry that seemed to vibrate in their bones. Jacob sat up straighter. "Did you hear that?" Before anyone could respond, a shadow swept across the moon, a fleeting silhouette too large to ignore. The group's eyes widened as they caught sight of it, a dark figure flapping agitatedly in the night. Jacob, ever the brave one, jumped to his feet and said, "Let's go see." Reluctant, the others followed. They plunged deeper into the woods, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, illuminating the trees' twisted forms. Just a few yards in, a low hum reverberated around them, growing louder. It was like the sound of 1,000 buzzing bees merging into one monstrous roar. Then, they saw it. Perched on a branch was the Mothman, its wings outstretched like an unholy cloak. Its eyes glowed a fierce crimson, reflecting the beams of their flashlights as it stared down at them. Panic seized the group, and they froze momentarily as the creature's gaze bore into their souls. Jacob's voice trembled, "This isn't funny." But before he could finish, the Mothman released a chilling screech that sent waves of terror through them. Without thinking, they turned to flee, their hearts pounding as they raced back through the trees. Branches whipped against their skin like angry fingers trying to hold them back. But it was Tessa who fell behind. "Help, I can't." The Mothman swooped down, its wings creating a gale that whipped the leaves around them. Maya felt her heart stop as she turned, hand extending instinctively. But Tessa was snagged in a branch, struggling to free herself. The creature loomed over her, its eyes glowing, projecting a menacing aura. "Tessa, run!" Felix shouted, but the fear had paralyzed her. In that moment, Tessa locked eyes with the Mothman. They filled with an abyss of terror, but also, something else, something inexplicable. Seconds stretched into eternity as the dark presence hovered before her. Then, as suddenly as it had descended, the Mothman took to the sky, wings beating with a rhythm like thunder. It circled high above the treetops before it vanished, leaving behind a haunting echo in the night. Jacob, Maya, and Felix rushed back, pulling Tessa free from the branches. They stumbled away, adrenaline propelling them forward until they reached the safety of their car parked at the edge of the woods. The roar of the engine broke the eerie silence as they sped away, leaving Eldridge Hollow in a cloud of dust. But in the backseat, Tessa remained pale and silent, shaken. Months later, when the whispers returned to Eldridge Hollow and the townsfolk spoke of shadows flitting through the trees, this time they carried a warning. The friends, each scarred by their encounter, realized that some legends had roots deeper than folktales. As autumn leaves fell, the sun dipped lower, and shadows grew longer, they knew. The Mothman wasn't merely a specter of fright. It was a message that darkness could descend from the skies, even upon the most unassuming of towns. And the thing is, sometimes, legends are born from a single truth, a moment where fear intersects with reality, and the darkness watches, waits, and knows them by name.